Are we streaming on everything we're supposed to be streaming on? Sweet.
See, now I can be fidgety. I just have to do it and beat with the music. The YouTube says we have excellent connection.
Ah, excellent.
Sometimes I like the YouTube. Check my hair. I wonder, is that like an actual voice, or did they just manipulate a sound to make it sound like a...
Probably just digital. Something digital. That's it?
No, there's just a little, it kind of fades out for a while before it kicks back over. It threw me for a loop the first time.
Okay. Let's kick back a little bit here.
All right. Relax. We still got 6 minutes.
It's been so long since we've been out like dancing somewhere, you know? So this is it.
This is it, yeah. This is the 2020 dance party.
Right?
Everybody get online. I told you we had the group thing and we finished up. We're going to get the camera and go correct. So everybody put their arms, we were all on Zoom. So
yeah.
They put their hands out. And obviously you could see the hands of the hands.
So you can touch?
Yeah, and then they started doing a wave.
That's cool.
Virtual dance party at the end of the training.
What you gotta do.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Gotta do what you gotta do.
Do what you gotta do.
Have you heard about those guys doing karaoke, live karaoke now? And you get up and you get into the shower. It's like
in the shower.
Like a clear shower curtain, so you're all like enclosed while you're singing. Brilliant. You can still see the karaoke show, but they're
Okay.
Getting up on stage behind a clear curtain.
Okay, I get it.
I'm like, that is brilliant. I think that's a great idea.
And then I guess they just have circles on the floor where everybody's allowed to sit.
To stand. No dancing.
No dancing. Hot monk.
No dancing.
That was so fun. They had a sign or something too, didn't they?
Yeah.
Maybe a way I was thinking about it with all the drive-in theaters. Like if you had a dance party at the drive-in where everybody brought a pickup truck and then you played concerts. And so it's whoever you could fit inside the bed of the pickup truck. That's your dance party.
That's your dance party.
Yeah, but if you have like 100 pickup trucks all backed up,
that would be cool.
That could be cool.
I like that. I like that idea.
We'll have to talk to somebody about that.
I'd have to put some, plywood dance floor material on the bed.
Yeah, especially because they're, it's kind of corrugated.
Yeah.
It's going to be hard to two-step, folks.
A little bit.
The West Coast swing might be difficult, although if it's a long
That'd be
bed,
fun.
if it's a long
There you
bed,
go.
you could get the rubber band action going pretty well.
I'm going to put sides on it.
Yeah, safety.
Don't fall off.
You're not allowed in if you don't have safety protection.
That's right.
It's too fun. You can do a karaoke that way too. Have a
That'd be a good
single
idea.
stage and then have a camera.
That'd be cool.
Up on a,
It's
up on a big
it's drive-in karaoke.
Drive-in karaoke. Somebody's got to have done that by now.
That's a great idea. I like that idea.
Fun with that. Not another local radio station. You might have to mix up the songs a little bit.
I know. I have to get a couple of different ones.
Should have completely different genres too.
We are not doing like acid rock metal crap, Brian. Not happening.
Stop. Get you motivated. Get you fired up.
Maybe you.
Hey.
It makes me want to leave.
We'll do the calm down version of it all.
Is there a calm down version?
Oh yeah.
When they do a like a love ballad or something?
There you go. All kinds of good rock and roll music out there.
Well, rock and roll's okay, but your heavy metal stuff I can't do. Can't do it.
Yes. Good for your heart. I'm sure somebody's done a survey or a medical investigation on
What it does to your
the
head?
body,
Yeah.
how the body responds to music in general.
That would be interesting.
Kind of like the MRI scans. They were talking
Right,
about
yeah.
at the conference earlier today.
Yeah.
Positive marketing, create positive.
That would be really interesting.
Yeah.
I mean, and is it for someone like you who already likes that kind of music, is it like a predisposed condition that you have?
Oh, being awesome.
That's called being awesome.
Whoa.
Whoa.
Hey, speaking of being awesome, we get to both be awesome here in about 30 seconds.
30 seconds. Oh, is it just a slight bit early?
All right. We missed it just by
It was, like, so
3 or 4
close.
seconds. It would have been perfect.
So close.
I think
know.
we hit it last time though. I think
I know, it's
the
pretty
song ended pretty much right at the end.
think
We'll
so.
we'll have to add a little variety in the music choices here as we go. So let's
Yes.
just see what's going on. Look, Mr. Facebook says we are happy and streaming. YouTube says we're happy and streaming.
Yay.
Even my computer shows that I'm happy and streaming. So I think
Well,
we're
it's a
all
good thing.
happy and streaming. So
Happy and streaming here for
happy
the
and
live show.
streaming. Yes. For those of you that don't know, my name is Ryan Perry, and this is Sue Bonzel.
That's me.
That's you. And this is
That's me.
this is you. Yes, this is the live show with Sue and Ryan. All right. So today
we're going to talk about some fun things. It's going to be about live streaming, of course. And specifically, today I want to talk about some live streaming ideas. I think one of the areas that stumps a lot of people when it comes to content creation, maybe live streaming, video production, even social media posts, blog posts, is what do you talk about?
Yeah,
And it's almost like it's an overwhelm, right? Because there's so much that you
absolutely.
can talk about, but sometimes we don't know what to talk about. And even you and I, we get kind of stuck in that place where it's like, okay, we just need to sit down and we need to kind of just jot down on the whiteboard and put those little notepads up with all these different ideas
Yeah.
so that you have a list. Because I think one of the things that keeps people from live streaming, once we get past the fear of the cameras, which there really isn't any fear of the camera, it's your friend. It's like, oh, it just wants to say hello to
Exactly.
you, is coming up with what to say, that content. So I think one, if you know what to say and then you actually put it on a calendar and plan it out, it just makes life
Yes.
easy because when the time comes to live stream, you're not like, oh yeah, I got that thing today and I don't know what we're going to talk about. So
We've done that a couple of
we've
times.
done
So
that a couple of times, yes. But we're getting better at not doing it, and we will continue to
yes,
get better at not doing it and planning
absolutely.
things out even farther and farther. And you don't want to get too
Yes.
far out because you never know what's going to go on in the world and how disconnected what you're wanted to talk about is maybe to what's going on in the world around you.
Yeah,
So
you gotta remain, you gotta be relevant. Still gotta
yeah,
be relevant.
got
So
to be relevant.
there you go.
I believe I have 11. We came up, we actually, as we were going through the
Okay.
list, you threw in a couple of really good ideas also. And so let's just jump into it. And I think
Okay.
one of them is my favorite, is something that a lot of YouTubers, and I'm amazed at how much people watch these. I was really blown. I mean, it's probably been a year since I started watching these on YouTube, and these are all pre-recorded. I would love to
Hmm.
see people do it live because then you get the interaction. You can communicate with your community and involve.
And
And
what are you talking about, Ryan?
well, I'm talking about reaction videos because I started watching reaction videos at least a year ago, and it was one of those things. It's almost like watching an Adam Sandler's film where you're like, I don't know why I'm watching this, but some of them you're like, oh, this is actually good. And the other ones, you're like,
Right?
yeah, no, delete. I'm going to go back and
Yeah.
watch something a little bit better. But I was like, I was blown. I'm like, this is so silly. People are just reacting to, and where I started out was music
Something.
videos, but then people go into
Okay.
comedy. They're reacting to just about anything and everything that
Yes.
is on the internet.
Yes,
And
they are.
people have thousands of views, like, and thousands, hundreds of thousands of followers. I still think we need to
Yes.
do our own live show, kind of just reacting to anything. There's even Reddit pages like disturbing things on the internet, and not, it could be morally disturbing. It doesn't have to be like ghost and ghouly disturbing or like
Right.
medical, like people that are popping stuff out
Oh,
of
the
your
pimple popper. Yeah,
pimple
that's
poppers.
always
Yeah, so
good.
it's all kinds of crazy stuff that people are doing. But reaction videos, instead of pre-recording, is actually do it live because people want
Live.
to. There's always an excitement about live because you never know what's going to happen. When you pre-record
Exactly.
stuff, it's kind of presupposed or assumed that the video is going to be flawless because you had time to retake, you had a chance
Well,
to
yeah,
edit, all
exactly. And
that fancy
if
stuff.
if you don't like it, you're like, well, I just won't post it then. It's like, well, when it's live, so you don't really have a choice. So you just got to just
Correct.
keep moving forward.
Yeah, there's a reason why Sue has her door closed. You don't want to watch the naked person walking, down the hallway. Not
Don't
that
have
there
me
is one.
naked
I'm just
either.
saying, sometimes you just know what. I mean, how people have done some weird stuff even on Zoom meetings,
Ah,
and stuff. It's
yes,
live. So anyway,
yes, of course.
before we get too far down the rabbit hole, there is, how can you incorporate reviews, or excuse me, reaction videos
Action. Yep.
into a live streaming platform? The other one is interviews. I mean, this is really common where two people are talking, but one is being interviewed, also known as a podcast. And I think there's kind of a misconception of what a podcast is, in the sense that a podcast is typically just audio. And so people are just going to watch the audio. Where if you're going to do a live stream through video, then it would be a video podcast. And that
Exactly.
what's really cool about this is that you can take the audio and extract it and then use it in your audio only podcast. So it actually, you
Absolutely.
could multi-purpose the content, which is one of the reasons why I love video in general anyway, is all the
I
different
agree.
ways that you can multi-purpose. So number
Yeah,
two
I mean,
is interviews.
yeah, and with the interviews too. I mean, I love that idea where it's, you don't necessarily have to be the absolute expert in what it is you're doing. You can bring on other experts. We've always talked about, what is it? Who's the doctor guy? Who's the
Which
doctor
one?
guy?
Dr. Phil?
That, well, no, the other. Oh, what's his name? I always forget his name. But he brings on everybody. Dr. Oz.
Oh, yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Dr.
And what a
Oz.
great
So I mean,
learning opportunity also, right? When you bring
exactly.
on
I
other
mean,
people.
he's an amazing doctor. He's very knowledgeable, but he brings on the specialists and he brings on all these different people that are specializing in a certain health aspect.
Right.
And he knows the right questions to ask. And I mean, he's learning. We're all learning.
Yep.
I find that to be very entertaining. I like Dr. Oz. So
Yeah, yeah. And there's so many out there, and
yes,
it's nice when you have somebody to bounce content off of. So instead of it just being,
absolutely.
let's say myself as an example, and now I got to fill a half hour up, it's really nice to be able to have Sue as a counterpart to have dialogue with. But when you are interviewing somebody, there's going to be attention and intention on what it is that you're going to talk about. And it's going to be great. Also, from a marketing point of view, if you want to get in front of other audience of similar interest,
Hmm.
bringing those people on, there's got to remember, people are always looking for content to promote, right? We're always
Absolutely.
looking like, oh,
Yes.
I need another piece of content. Well, if you get a phone call from somebody that says, hey, I'd like to interview you, they're like, great, because now I have new content that I can share with my audience. And so it's
Exactly.
an easy way to grow your audience sphere, and vice versa. It's, you help the other person out because now they're getting to be in front of your audience also.
Exactly. No, I love the interview format. I've done a couple myself, and they're always, I really always appreciate the people that are coming on. So always learn
Yeah.
something too, which is great.
Right. Yeah. So cool. So interviews, and I think that's kind of one of the easiest ones, especially if you want to kind of break into doing live, or even just video in general, interviewing people, something as simple as Zoom, as an example, where it's just
Hmm.
a two up on Zoom. You can hit the record button right on Zoom, or even Zoom has the ability, depending on the plan that you have, to actually live stream to YouTube and Facebook. So you
Exactly.
can do some cool things with some simple tools out there.
Yes.
Next up is reviews. And there are some YouTubers that are making at least $1 million just doing reviews. Literally, they sit down and they go, hey, look at my phone. This is a cool phone. Now, granted, they do an excellent job, which is why they have millions of
Yes.
viewers, and each of their videos get hundreds of thousands, if not millions of views. But doing product reviews, it doesn't have to be a physical product. It could be
Sure.
a service that you had or an industry that you're speaking to, and basically
Mhm.
kind of doing a review and then bringing your expertise at whatever level that is to the audience. I think that's
I mean,
very
I
powerful.
personally, I've always said I would love to be a restaurant reviewer. I mean, how
Yeah,
often do I go out to eat? A
yeah,
lot. I'm kind of more of the foodie. That's not
right.
really your thing. That's kind of like
Yeah.
my thing.
I go out a
I
lot
love to go
too. I
try
just go
something.
to the same
Well,
place all the time. You
Taco
like
Bell.
you like variety.
I
So
like a lot of variety. Yes.
yeah. So I mean, how cool would it be though if you called the restaurant owner ahead of time and said, "Hey, I'm interested in dun dun dun. I'm just going to bring my smartphone, put it on a little gimbal, and they've got kits now. They've got cages, and I don't have one, right? But they have cages for phones where you can actually attach a little LED light, and you could attach a
Mm,
microphone, and then you put that on a handhold, and it's really cool what you're able to do. And because your phone has cellular, you can just live stream straight to
Yep,
Facebook or straight to YouTube, wherever your audience is, Instagram, all of that. You
exactly.
can live stream just with this fancy little device here. It's pretty cool what we're able to do in the modern age. If you go back 10 years,
10, yeah. Probably even less
you
than
would be
that.
difficult to have the internet bandwidth, the technology, like, and
Technology.
the understanding and all of that. You go back 15 years, it wasn't even happening, or it was at the very infancy. So it's really cool because from a marketing point of view, we're taking all the power out of the big corporates, right? It used to be you had to be on ABC, NBC, CBS to get national, international coverage. Well, today, you just live stream yourself on Facebook, on
Exactly.
YouTube, on Instagram, Twitch. I mean, there's so many different platforms depending on where your audience is. Even LinkedIn now is rolling out live content. It's very limited, and they're being selective, I guess, at this point, as they're demoing it. And then once they figure out
Right.
all the bugs, I'm sure it'll be opened up to everybody. But yeah, reviews,
Reviews. I like it.
reviews. All right,
That's
perfect.
fun.
Let's keep on moving. Uh,
Okay.
have you ever newsjacked?
No,
No.
it
Okay,
sounds
fair enough.
wrong. It sounds
Uh,
wrong.
well, it's kind of like carjacking, but it's not illegal. And
Oh,
essentially, it
good.
is kind of what is the big spike. So if you think about it, there's evergreen content, content that is kind of relevant all the time. Like, how do you live
Hmm.
stream? That's going to be
Right.
for people that are just getting into that space, maybe because of a shift in business, or they're coming to an age where it's like, hey, I'm interested in live streaming. It's always going to be relevant.
Yes.
Then there are things that are maybe happening in the world. Maybe something happened last Saturday that was kind of really big that everybody's interested in. There's more eyes in focus, so it's called
Yes.
newsjacking. It could be local news, or it could be national or international news, and kind of attaching yourself, adding your own commentary to
To the news.
content. And I think if you, well, I'm gonna bring up
Is
an
it?
easy one for me, and that's sports.
Yeah, for you, absolutely.
People will give their opinion about what's going on. So,
Sure.
the game on Sunday, or the World Series, or whatever's going on, whatever, people
Is
add
it kind of
commentary.
like? Do you remember? I back in the day, I don't know if you ever watched this Mystery Science Theater. Do you ever remember that? The
I
guy would
know the
sit.
name, but I couldn't tell you much beyond that.
He would sit in the cinema in the theater with his robot friend next to him, and you'd see their silhouettes, and they'd watch a movie on the big screen, and then they would comment the entire way through of the
Okay.
movie and just making comments about everything that they were seeing and making jokes and things like that. And I mean, that was happening, oh,
Yeah.
I don't even know how many years ago. That was a long time ago.
Yeah. So he's
They
kind
were,
of
they were
doing he's
pioneers.
kind of doing a reaction video. It's like
It
the
is kind of
early
a reaction.
adopter
Yeah,
of reaction videos. Yeah.
exactly. Exactly.
So newsjacking is just kind of riding that wave of interest, because if
Hmm.
you put XYZ, because XYZ is popular in the news, as people are scrolling through whatever social platform they're on,
Right.
it's going to catch their eye because they're like, oh, what's this person's, got going on? And the most
Right. And
frustrating
it's
one,
topical.
and it's
Yeah.
topical, yeah. And one of the
Yeah.
ones where I get frustrated, I wish people would stop doing it, is where it's like a new release. So being a gadget guy, I'm always interested in the new cameras or the new software that's coming out. And people like, oh, what could the new bump 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 be from Canon, as an example? And it's like, you don't know. You're just like creating stuff out of the thin air. Don't do it
You're
until you
making
actually
it
have
up.
something to actually talk about. You have some tangible
Right.
information to talk about, then great, do it. Some people just have to be heard. The next one, this is kind of a fun one. We haven't done it live, but we've taken some videos and pictures, and it's behind the scenes.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
so it's kind of neat to be able to say, oh, hey, here's an event that we're doing a live stream at, and then actually have some behind the scenes footage so people can kind of
Right.
see where are the lights, where's the camera, ooh, look at the lighting, and all, and you get to see the mess also. I think that's one of
It's
the cool
basically,
things,
yes.
you know?
Usually it is a little bit of a mess. So,
Yeah. Because I'm like, I look at my desk and I'm like, oh my gosh. I don't think I could live. I wouldn't want to live with a smaller desk. And my desk is huge.
It is a huge desk.
It is a very
Yes.
large desk, and but fortunately, you only get to see this. You just get to watch the traffic roll by in the background.
Right.
It's the only clutter you get to see. So I think people it when people see behind the scenes, it's almost like a sneak peek into what's going on. So I almost feel special because it's like, oh, they let me in. I got to see something cool, and
Well,
you
it's
also
kind of
get
all the, it's all the smoke and mirrors too.
yeah,
It's kind of the behind the scenes where,
right,
I've done radio for many, many years, and radio is a lot of it's smoke and mirrors. And if you really knew what was going on behind the scenes, you'd be like, whoa, okay, did not know about that. Uh, kind of like, the news guys where they're not wearing any pants.
right.
Like,
It's like,
hey,
oh,
behind the
hold it, I can't
scenes.
get up right now. Sorry, folks.
Just
I gotta
sit
stay
down.
where I'm at. Stay where I'm at.
Sit
Well,
down.
I'm only wearing a crop top. It comes down to about here.
Gross.
uh, so anyhow, behind the scenes, I think that's pretty easy. And you also, if you think about Instagram stories, a lot of times people
Mm-hmm.
will do that. So it's almost kind of a fun way to do a teaser, especially if
Yes.
you're working on a large project, is then kind of going, oh, here's behind the scenes for what's coming up. So it's an easy way
Yes.
to build some interest and buzz about what's going on or what's coming up. Next, webinars.
Yeah.
Typically these get pre-recorded, and simply because that, you might be on a webinar if you're going to do one for an hour to 2 hours, depending on what the product is that you want to sell. But this is going to be a sales type of live stream
Yes.
where people know what's going on. So you got to be upfront
Well,
about that.
educational,
Yeah,
and you
correct.
typically with a sales component to it. Yeah.
Correct. Yeah. And that's not something I would recommend doing very often, and checking it out and seeing what the response is from the audience. And then another one that kind of ties right into webinars is going to be conferences, where it's the same thing. Typically, a conference is a large format. As you know, Sue, we worked on a 4-hour event today that
We
we were
did.
producing that's actually going to go over 4 days. So we had 4 hours
Yes.
today, and then there's 4 hours, 4 hours, 4 hours. So that's a conference where you're going to have multiple experts come in. You have a paid audience behind a paywall to be able to see the content that's being provided. At
Hmm.
those conferences, I think the big difference between a webinar and the conference is that you're paying up front for a conference. And then for a
Hmm.
webinar, if you're interested, you pay on the back end.
And you're
I just
right.
thought of that.
Exactly.
I just thought about that. I'm
So
smart
smart.
sometimes, I tell you, I'm smart.
It's so
Were you
funny.
going to say something else about
No,
conferences? Okay.
no, no.
So
I love
webinars,
conferences.
yep, conferences are wonderful. Another one is kind of ties into behind the scenes, and that is like especially if you're working on a big project, or I'll stick with that because I can't think of anything else, is you kind of give a little snippet or an explanation of what you're working on. There are like Colin First, Furst. I think that's his name. He's a YouTuber in England, and he's kind of the mad scientist. He created a swing that goes 360 in his
Whoa.
backyard, but it's probably a good 8 feet from the center point, and you
Oh my
stand up
gosh.
on it and you swing, and then you get
Whoa.
enough momentum. He does crazy stuff. Does
That's
crazy stuff.
nuts.
So there's a build process for what he's doing.
Sure.
So kind of again that behind the scenes, but it's going to be more focused. It's not like, oh, hey, here's my office, here's the
Did he,
equipment. It's going to be
was he
focused
the
on.
guy,
Go ahead.
was he the guy that did the squirrel trap thing?
No, that's
Did the
somebody
squirrel
else.
thing?
Yeah, the squirrel
That's
was
another one.
that was a cool one
That was
also, where you can
brilliant.
kind of, you could
You see the whole, yeah,
kind of see the evolution of, hey, this is
yeah,
what I'm learning. Again, then you check out on Friday when I'm actually going to launch the video. So it's kind of like a
exactly.
behind the scenes, but it's going to be a little bit more focused on a project or something that you're working on. And again, it's just going to let people kind of feel special, people that are interested, your community that are curious about what's going on. It's kind of cool to kind of say, hey, this is what I'm working on specifically right now.
Right. I get.
Another one, and there's two that kind of tie together. One is kind of a Q&A. So for those of you that have been live streaming, you've got an audience, you might let people know, hey, next Thursday, I'm going to do a Q&A. And it's kind of like, you got questions about whatever it is that I do. It could be baking, it could be hairstyling, it could be changing the oil on your car, whatever it is. And you do a Q&A. So ask me a question and I will answer it. Super
There you
simple,
go.
easy way to engage with your audience. And then one that kind of goes with it, but isn't as focused, is called an AMA, which is Ask Me Anything. So it may be like, hey, at
Anything?
what point, anything,
Anything?
you don't have to answer. So the idea is that it doesn't necessarily have to be centric to the individual's business or kind of what they're known for. It might be like, hey, where's your favorite place to not visit this summer because of everything that's going on?
Right.
You
Exactly.
might ask that, or, at what point did you know you wanted to be dun dun dun,
Right.
whatever it might be. So an AMA is a little bit more broader
Those are fun.
versus a Q&A, which is typically a little bit more focused. So know
Right.
your audience and
I like
determining
that.
maybe which one's best, or try them both, see what happens.
There you go.
I have one more for you.
Experiment.
Do you know what it is?
I don't know.
It's
I
right
don't think
here.
I know.
All right.
It's on the
It's gonna,
list.
woo, gotta go fast. It is how-tos and tips. So if you're
There
an
you go.
expert, this is really good. This is one of the things I really strive. If you're a service-based business, people are
Hmm.
so interested in what you do. And one of the key reasons, and I don't think a lot of business owners understand this from the service side, the more technical your business is, so think CPA, think attorney,
Hmm.
maybe
Yes.
financial planning. There's
They have they have to be careful with what they do with their rules, but
Well,
yes.
yes. Here's the thing, though, is that a lot of times people are embarrassed to actually reach out because they don't feel like
Mm,
they're going to be educated enough and they don't want to
right.
feel stupid talking to somebody. So it's like, I
Right.
know I need an estate plan as an example, but I have no
Yes.
idea what goes into one. So I'm not going to say anything. It's kind of like
Oh,
that bump
you gotta have one.
well, and you don't ask the
No,
doctor.
we're not going there.
Yeah, but it's kind of the same thing. So as for, again, this is specifically for service-based business where I found this
Right.
really powerful for, may it be video or ideally live video, because that's what we're talking about today, is to educate people. And so it's that evergreen content. What are 5 things you should know about estate planning? Talk about the ugliness that's in the industry also. Think of like general contractors or other services where
Yes.
maybe the industry in general is not reputable. And it's not that everybody in the industry isn't reputable. It's just
Right.
that certain
Exactly.
industries have kind of this, they got a little
Or
bit of
certain
a,
facets, certain
yeah, you gotta,
facets
they're
of
like,
a certain
I
industry.
don't
Yeah.
know if I trust that person. So talk
Right.
about that. There are some great contractors on YouTube, as an example, and they go through and they go, look, this is a good plumbing job, or this is a good wiring
Right.
job. And they explain what they did. And a lot of times they'll bring the electrician in. And at the same
Mhm.
time, they'll go to someplace else and they'll go, yeah, this is
They'll go.
code, but
Yeah.
this is the problem with it. Or
Right.
if
Right.
if you're a dentist, as an example, I always tell dentists, I
Mm.
go, if you're going to stick your hands in my mouth, I kind of want to know who you are. And a
Right.
picture and a bio doesn't really tell me a lot. But if you're on video talking about, hey, you know what? A lot of dentists will just pull a tooth if there's a problem with it. I prefer to do this, and here's some other options about how you can handle
Right.
dun dun dun. And yeah, teeth whitening is good, but you also got to be careful about this when you whiten your teeth. And
Right.
these are the problems that I've seen when people don't pay attention to following the safety protocol or
Right.
whatever it is with teeth whitening. So it doesn't always have to be positive, right? People are looking for
Well, I
real and honest.
Yeah, I mean, I love that where it's like, it's kind of like here are the pitfalls to look out for.
Yeah.
These are the things. These are the things you need to know, no matter where you go
Mm-hmm.
in that industry. Here's
Yeah.
what you should know. Make sure
Right.
you ask these are the top 5 questions you should be asking
Correct.
of an estate planner or something
Yep.
like that.
Yep.
I think those
And
are awesome.
they're great. And the one thing I want to add in there as a kind of, I'll call it a pro tip, is that when you're going to do something like, hey, these are 5 things or 10 things to look for in a estate planner, in a dentist, in a financial planner, whatever it is, don't
Right.
sell your service. It's the worst thing you
No.
can do because people are already kind of looking at you like, okay, this is going to be self-serving because you're talking about yourself in your own industry.
Right.
Allow your natural charisma, allow your knowledge to come forward, and then make
Right.
sure your website backs up what you say. So if you're
Exactly.
like, hey, you should, find a dentist that has at least 10 years experience because there's a lot of learning that goes into it. You can't just get it all. I'm making this up. You can't just get it all out of dental school. I don't know because I'm not a dentist, so I'm not a professional. But you might say, make sure you have at least 10 years of experience. And that should come from the honest. That's like, hey, as a dentist,
Right.
I was good, but it wasn't until like 5 years in or whatever it is that I was like,
Whatever it
I
is. Yeah.
got this.
Yeah.
And then
Yep.
make sure your website says, yeah, hey, I've been in business for 15 years now.
Exactly.
So yeah, don't be self-serving because if people are interested in what you say and how you say it, if they connect with you, they'll go and automatically do research on your website. You don't
Exactly.
have to sell. What was Colt Briner talking about today? His is purpose marketing. Is that
Purpose driven marketing.
purpose? Yeah,
Yeah.
purpose-driven
Where it's like
marketing, where you're
where
kind
yeah,
of
it's where what's the purpose and
yeah,
where's the feeling in it.
yeah.
So yeah.
Where's the heart in what you're doing?
Yes.
And when people emotionally connect with you there, it's great because you don't have to sell. So anyway,
Exactly. I love
so
that.
that's what I got. I don't know. Did you come up with anything
I have
else that I
I
missed?
have one more.
Okay, great.
I
What
have
is it?
one more that's kind of more like, well, fun,
Okay.
because I watched a couple of them, and it's the unboxing videos that I've seen on YouTube where they get a package in the mail. And I mean, we've all been ordering packages, right? And maybe you're ordering something specific for your business. And you get to like open it up live in front of everybody to see like what's in the package, and
Mm-hmm.
like those are kind of fun.
Yeah.
It sounds really stupid, but I've actually watched some of these,
Yep.
and they can be very entertaining. So
Yeah,
I
and
don't
I
know,
think
something
that's
fun.
the difference maybe from like the product reviewer, right? Because we talked about the guy who's
Right,
like, "Ooh, look at the new phone and all the features." This
right,
is when you unbox, it's kind of like, "Hey, this is my first impression. I don't know
right.
what to expect." Versus the review, somebody has actually like gone through it. They've used it
Played
for a
with it.
couple of weeks. They
Yeah,
know it's like, all right, these are my talking points. Where when you're doing an
right.
unboxing, especially in a live event, how wonderful is that? Because you might be like, oh, I don't even know how to, it
How does
seems
this go
like this
together?
should go
There's no
together, but it doesn't.
instructions.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a
Yeah,
good
where
one.
are the
I
instructions?
like that one. I'm sure they're online somewhere. You just got to download the PDF.
Right, something like that. Yeah.
All
No,
right,
but the
perfect.
unboxing I think is really fun.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that actually brings our list up to 12. Nicely done.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yay.
So that's all I have for you. If you have questions, thoughts about live streaming in general, both Sue and I are always open. All you have to do is just leave a comment below. We'll get back to you as soon as possible. We don't live on YouTube and Facebook, so if it takes us a day, especially over the weekend, it could take 2 days. But we'll definitely get back to you, respond, and follow up with any questions that you have. With that being
Absolutely.
said, Sue, anything you'd like to add?
Nope. We'll just see you next week. Tuesday, 4 o'clock. We'll be back.
Tuesday at 4 o'clock. Perfect. All right, everybody.
Yeah.
Until then, take care. Hope you have a great week.